what is worse about you having a hard time with studies is that you accepted the offer. You applied and said you want to be in varsity. So you know what? Let's do this. Yep. Let's get into the studies.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sagwadiwa Karabuta and I am back. We are back to work. We have to work. We have to work under circumstances. Remember, I'm a mom of 100 kids. I always call my kids 100 because there's so many. Right? So the kids are here. If you hear any sounds, it's the kids and this needs to be done. You see, I'm already on mom duty. If you check, oh, you can't see me up to here. And I put the baby on my back just to try and do this. Okay, guys? So I hope everybody's doing so well so far and the results are coming out and you guys are getting what you sowed. Thank you so much for the encouraging WhatsApp messages. I'm seeing you guys past. Somebody's even graduated. Somebody's even graduating this October, thanks to me and their hard work. I'm just like, yeah, this is worth it. This channel is worth it. Thank you for 7,000 subscribers. I am in disbelief. Like, I was like, no, I want to reach 10,000 this year, blah, 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 blah. But I was just dreaming because you know what? People don't like channels that are doing schoolwork. People like controversy, they want to see news, what's popping, what's going on. I'm just checking the mic, sorry. What's going on and stuff. And here I do schoolwork and it gets boring for people. Even the podcast, it's legal practice. It's mostly educational, this channel. So not most people like it. I am hoping to reach out to the University of Namibia students so that I can get their assignments and do them because they study South African law. Yeah, if you're from the University of Namibia and you would like for me to do the Faculty of Law assignments on this channel from there, please find me, inbox me on all my platforms. Send me a WhatsApp. The number is on my bio. I am looking for a Namibian law student, okay, who can send me assignments to work on them and post them here. Reach out to Namibia because, yeah, I found out that Namibia does South African law and I love it. Okay, so let's do whatever that I've done. If it's done in other countries, I can do it. I can cater to as many people as possible on this platform. Right, today we are doing the law of Delict. Is it Delict? I say dialect. I'm going to South African it. How? It's Delict, okay? PVL3703. I want to tell you something very peculiar. This is the same assignment they gave them first semester. Same thing. Same jacket. Same thing. Right, okay. This thing makes me nervous. I don't want it to be off and I didn't see and I'm just blabbering. Yeah, okay. Now, this assessment is a one question for 10 marks, right? Tumelo suffers from insomnia and he does not sleep often. Okay. Tumelo suffers from insomnia and when he does sleep, often sleepwalks. His doctor has prescribed him medication to control this condition. Tumelo goes on a camping trip with his friends. On one evening while sleepwalking, he thinks he's being attacked by a robber and stabs one of his friends, Mandla. In reality, there was no robber and Mandla was trying to assist Tumelo to go back to his bed. It transpired that Tumelo had not taken his medication, prescribed by the doctor that morning. Mandla was seriously injured and hospitalized. Oh my gosh. Mandla would like to institute a dialectal claim against Tumelo. Discuss with reference to the relevant authority whether Tumelo indeed acted for the purposes of the law of Delict. Restrict the scope of your answer to the element of conduct. So when we speak of dialect, how do you guys want me to call it? We speak of, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna look for something quickly. This is the same thing they did last semester. Same thing. Okay. So now, in context with the South African law, right? The law of Delict requires that plaintiff to prove 5 essential elements. Number 1 being conduct, wrongfulness, fault, causation, and damage. If any one of these elements is absent, the defendant cannot be held liable. The element of conduct, which forms the foundation of any dialectual action, may be analyzed in the case of Tumelo, right? Who suffered the sleepwalking? He suffered. He sleepwalked, and in his sleepwalking, because his prior conduct was that he did not take his medication. In his sleepwalking, he ended up stabbing his friend Mandla, who was assisting him. So now they said that we must forget about the wrongfulness, fault, and what. We must focus on conduct. Now we're going to talk about the concept of conduct. The concept of conduct in the law of Delict refers to a human action that manifests in either a positive or negative, in either a positive or omission, right? So the concept of conduct in the law of Delict refers to a human action that manifests in either positive act or omission. These are two elements of conduct. Either a person has acted or they have omitted, they have not acted, right? That is an omission. It still forms part of, it still forms conduct. It both forms conduct, okay? In the case of Tumelo, his conduct is categorized as positive because he's in his sleepwalking, he ended up stabbing and harming a person, thinking it's something he's being robbed, right? This is a positive conduct. However, it is not sufficient to claim liability. The conduct must also be voluntary, and the conduct must also be voluntary to be recognized under the law of Delict. So now, if you check Tumelo'S case, the conduct was not voluntary, right? He was not in control of himself. He was sleepwalking. Voluntariness is a fundamental requirement for conduct in the law of Delict. An action is considered voluntary if the individual has sufficient mental capacity to control his muscular movements. As I said, he was not in control, so it's not really voluntarily, okay? If an action is performed under circumstances where the person lacks control over their movements, such as during an epileptic fit, sleepwalking, the action is regarded as involuntary. This principle is encapsulated in the defense of automatism, which excludes voluntariness from the equation. Automatism refers to a state where the bodily movements are purely mechanical and not directed by the will of the individual. So now we are looking at remember they said that your explanation must be covered only looking at conduct. You explain everything, right? It's part of your answer. You must explain. This is conduct, positive or omission. Explain voluntariness until we get until we get to a conclusion. You must be explaining all under the umbrella of conduct, right? I get worried. Sorry. All under all under the umbrella of conduct, right? In this scenario, Tumelo'S sleepwalking incident can provide grounds for defense for automatism, which would exempt him from liability. If his action during the sleepwalking were entirely involuntary, he would not have acted for the purposes of the law of dialect. The courts have recognized, for example, epileptic seizures as a basis for automatism in previous cases, thereby excluding the voluntary nature of the conduct. Remember, now I'm trying to show the marker that I know what I'm talking about. I'm even putting examples that are not in here, right? I'm talking about an example where a person can raise a defense of automatism being in an epileptic fit, right? Right. Now, a significant qualification to the defense of automatism arises when the individual intentionally or negligently places themselves in a state of automatism. Now, we have explained on how a person can raise the defense of automatism. Oh God, why am I thinking automation? Hey, right? But now we have to explain further to see if this defense can work for Tumelo. You can, if Manda is going to raise a dialectual claim, what can Tumelo do or say? So we are trying to check the conduct again. Now, a significant qualification to the defense of automatism arises when the individual intentionally or neglectedly, hey, why is the English living? Places themselves in a state of automatism. This principle is known as equilibrium in causa. Hey. According to this principle, if a person's prior conduct caused or contributed to their subsequent involuntary state, they will still be held liable. In Tumelo'S case, the fact that he failed to take his prescribed medicine for sleepwalking that he got from the doctor the night of the incident. In the case of Tumelo, because he failed to take his prescribed medication, medication for his sleepwalking issue or either problem, he can be held liable. This is prior conduct. We are still talking about conduct. He acted, it's omission. He was negligent. He did not take his medication. This medication was prescribed specifically to prevent the sleepwalking. And his failure to take it could amount to negligence. He omitted, that is conduct. Negligence is conduct. So, can he be held liable? Yes, because he knew that he had to take his medication before going to bed. Negligence is established by proving that a reasonable person in the same circumstances would have seen the possibility of harm and taken steps to prevent it. A reasonable person who suffers from insomnia and is prescribed medication would take the necessary precautions by adhering to the prescribed treatment regime, especially when especially when camping, when he's out with other people. So he would have thought that because he has no control in his sleepwalking, and he's going to be sleeping with other people in a group at the camp, he needs to take his medication. You please stop making noise. You're disturbing me. So, because a reasonable person who knows that he's got this problem, as he knew, any reasonable person would have taken their medication to prevent this from, they would have foreseen that something harmful could happen even to themselves when they're sleepwalking there in the wild, So he should have taken that. Now, this is you have explained conduct, negligence, positive action, omission. You have explained even the defenses that he can raise. Now, let's conclude. In conclusion, while Tumelo'S actions during the sleepwalking may have been involuntary, his failure to take his prescribed medication significantly alters the legal analysis. The principle of actio labria in causa holds that individuals cannot escape liability if their prior negligence caused their subsequent involuntary state. Tumelo'S omission to take his medication represents a breach of the standard of care expected of a reasonable person, making him negligent. Consequently, his reliance on the defense of automatism is likely to fail, and he would be regarded as having acted for the purposes of the law of Delict. You see? That's it. That's the answer that they want. As long as you have mentioned the most important things, you have defined conduct, the two elements, the positive, acting positively, omission, negligence, the defense that he could raise, why he cannot raise that defense, the reasonable person. That's it. 10 marks is yours. Then we are done with this assignment for second semester. Sorry for the chaos, guys. Sorry for my kids. But I feel like if we wait for my kids to go back home in 2 more weeks, we're going to be behind schedule. So we need to get this done. I really hope I was trying to be as quick as possible so that I can get it done before they make more noise or report each other like now. Okay? But if there's anything you're not understanding in whatever that I've been saying, please, 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 this thing, please leave a comment down below. I will explain further. Okay, in the description box I'm gonna write the key points for you. Okay, yeah, so that you don't get confused. I love you so much. Thank you for joining my channel, supporting my channel. It helps me to grow. Like now I can look for a camera. Yeah! We're gonna have a camera better quality soon. Soon. Like the year's not gonna end before I buy a camera for the channel. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Let's kill this assignment. I love you so much. Mwah!